those of you that wanted to know how to get a border on your prints, I'm just going to show you how I do mine. You can do them from these file dividers or find something that's a little bit more robust than just paper. That was just a drawing book cover, and they can be any size and any shape that you want. So I would recommend that you possibly do it on an A4 sheet. So cut it to your paper size, because that way you can line up with whatever's underneath your jelly plate, no matter what size it is. So I've got one there for an A4 one, and here I'll show you how to cut out a smaller square for my jelly plate that I made myself. So first of all, you want to find out. Pause, get some paper. Right, first of all, you want to find out what size you want to create. Now here's a jelly plate that I made myself, and I'm using the drawing paper card. So I've cut around the size of it because I wanted it to be exactly the same size as my plate. And then what I'm going to do is, I found the size aperture that I want to cut out. So I want a small square inside this size plate, and I'm drawing on the jelly plate with a Sharpie in a nice bright colour, and you'll see why in a moment. And I'm drawing around the size that I want, the aperture. Removing my template. It might be perfect, it might not. We'll see. So because this is exactly the same size, I'm quite happy just to put it on there and then take a print of the size of the aperture that I want. So that's the size exactly that I want, so I can remove that, and now I can cut out the said hole. Now, I quite like the rounded corners, but I'm going to do it straight for the moment. And be careful, obviously, with these blades, because they are super sharp, as they should be. Now for those of you that are collaging with your papers, you probably want to make full use of printing on the whole sheet and not separate the aperture and create a border around your print. For those of you that want to create a beautiful print, you've practiced what you want to do and you want to create something finished, this is the perfect way of doing it. So there we have a template for a further use later on for something else possibly, and here we have a nice little template there. As I say, probably isn't perfect, but we'll see. Now I'm just going to get rid of that line, because that line will probably remain on there for, no, it's not too bad, it has actually come off. So the whole Sharpie line, even though I can still see it on my plate, has actually come off. Here's some little leaves that I want to play. So using this is perfectly simple. I will just do a very quick example. I'll take some of that off and put it onto this one. Slightly too much there. There's too much here as well. But roll out your painters as you want it. I'm going to put a bit more of that in there. I think I'm just going to create a little bit more of a green with this one, just to add some more interest in this. There is no right or wrong way of jelly printing. It's all about playing, discover what you like. And I always normally keep a sketch pad by the side of me or sheets of paper. I'll just use this one for the moment. And then I just roll out the excess just on the sheet of paper. And the many times that I use this roll out paper too, because it's such a wonderful textures that it picks up. So I'm going to choose leaves and some flowers I've just found in the garden, and grasses are wonderful too. Try and find leaves, try and find things with texture. Texture is the key, I think, with jelly printing. Let's put that one in there too. And put these ones on my other one. Just the odd leaf, I think. There we go. Okay, so here you can just take a normal print, which will be laying it down on top of your jelly plate and just rubbing off the areas that you want. So let's do that with the first one. I've got a piece of A4 paper underneath and I'm going to line it up carefully, and that way I'll be able to line it up next time if I want to reprint over the print. Now, because I'm using grasses and leaves, it's a little bit bumpy, but just feel your way around the stems and around the leaf edges, and then just press. And then what I like to do is I like to carefully lift off. Now, this area has been masked off, that's why this is white, but if you carefully lift off your grasses and your leaves, you should be able to not dislodge the paper. And then carefully just rub again where you had it. And this paint, this is just really cheap paint, cheap acrylic paint, which goes on for years and years and years. And I found it to be wonderful. And here you've got that great texture. You can see even the grasses have shown all their little fronds. There you go. And I'll just do a small one as well, pressing very carefully around each stem and each leaf with the intention of taking them off so we can get the fine detail. And then press that down again. Pulling it off carefully, and again you have that lovely detail. Now, if we want to do the same, that has got a small aperture on it anyway, so that's actually quite fun as it is. But if we wanted to have a smaller one using our cutout, oops, managed to get the paint everywhere now. Just roll out your paint. I'm going to use just a central leaf. I want to have all that lovely texture. So I'm going to lift the leaf off, and I'm going to put my mask frame, which isn't quite leaf size, but it's near enough. And then I'm going to pretty much centre. I haven't got a piece of paper underneath this one, so I'm just guessing at the moment. And then just pressing all around. I think that is lovely. Oh, that has actually got a little bit of the blue, but the blue's come off from the actual card itself. That's all right, I'm not actually disliking that, but I think that's rather beautiful. So we can do the same thing on here. And it's picked up a little bit of the colours from underneath as well. So it's picked up the blue, it has picked up the green, but it's using a lot of this pale ochre colour. So again, I want to have it framed, so I'm going to use the square one that I've created, and that one I will line up with the top of the paper, and then line that at the top of the paper, and now press, and that then should give me a ghost print of what I was doing earlier on. So that shows all the textures with all the lovely colours and with a great border, and that actually can be pretty much any way up that you want. And you can go into that, you can play with that, you can go in with pen, maybe some watercolours, maybe stitch it, but they look nice and crisp. So, more later.